All right, so let's maybe get your perspective. Many are suggesting that it's really a two-horse race. We do have a lot of, if you like, you can call them fringe players with great intentions. Yes. But when we look at the political history of Nigeria, it's really about these two parties. Sure. So let's start, first of all, by getting your perspective on the incumbent and the APC's plans going forward. So one will expect that it's pretty much more of the same, a continuation of its policy to tackle corruption, address security, and of course try to drive the economy. Overall, what's your thoughts on...
I'll rate them very lowly. They haven't done everything that they have planned or they have said that they would do. From security, let's start with security. You just read the report on the ICRC worker that was killed, and that's the second person killed in less than a month. And also, we also shouldn't forget that we've had a case of a lady that was killed in Abuja, who's related to one of the ministers of finance, I think, Nemandi Isman. So, and all of this is happening in a month or in a week where we're celebrating the girl child. So, if you look at go back 2015 and look at 2018, which we're in now, and you ask yourself, what has changed? Have we really improved security-wise? The answer is no. No. If you also add the fact that the Middle Belt has turned into a massive killing field, especially between the herdsmen and the farmers, it's now a big, big issue. So in 2015, we were dealing with Boko Haram and its bombings and all that. But now in 2018, we're not just dealing with Boko Haram. We're dealing with the Middle Belt and all of that. Of course, there's also...
But sorry on that, to cut in, but on that security issue, the government has often argued that it's political. Many of these killings that we see, there are some political actors in the background that make it difficult for them to be contained. Do you think there's any justification for that argument?
In 2015, nobody was saying it was political. So why is it political now? The truth of the matter is that human lives have been lost. We need to shed that toga of insensitivity when we start to call it politics. The truth of the fact is people are dead. At this point, people are dead. And most of them are not reported. So if you look at it that way, we can't take away the political angle. That's the truth. But what have you done differently? Right. What have you done to stem that tide?
Okay, if we can quickly touch on the other issues, which are, of course,
the economy. The economy is another dangerous one. We're still the largest economy in Africa, fair enough. But then our GDP, CBN is already threatening that we may slip into another recession after we just got out of a recession. So that's in that issue. We're asking ourselves, what have you done spectacularly with the economy in the last 3 years? What indices can we point at and beat our chest and be excited about? Nothing per se. When you come to fighting corruption, it's been largely, the notion out there is that it's one-sided. Recently, the Executive Order 6 was given more teeth. But even at that, you have to ask yourself, you're fighting corruption on one hand, and you also have the rule of law on the other hand. How do you find a balance? How are you going about this? Are you really sticking to the Constitution that you promised to uphold when you decide to fight corruption? So all in all, and of course, you can't take away the fact that many people in the same administration have been fingered, with different corrupt dealings, which is not just also about money. It's not just about money. It's about, misusing positions. It's about not having the proper qualifications to hold the position that you're holding. So it's all in different shades.
Well, we're looking a lot into history, and I guess because it's the incumbent that we're talking about, it suggests what we can see going forward. True. But do you think there's any argument to the fact that this government inherited huge problems, and it may just take more than one term in office to make significant impact?
Truth be told, there is no quick win. There is no easy way out of it. I always use this analogy. You cannot get 9 children by having 9 women pregnant for 1 month each. They're going to go 9 months each, except you have twins from one of them. So, but the problem with this government and this administration is that it shot itself in the foot with the level of expectations it set at the beginning. So when you get in there, we were campaigning and you had, you're going to feed people twice, once meals a day and all of that. They've done some of that. But people had so much expectation-wise, so much. And then you come in 6 months in, you're still trying to get the righteous men to get in. And then 3 years on, we're finding that these righteous men are not exactly righteous. You ask yourself, hello, what have we done here? So, yes, there were problems. In truth, there were problems. There were challenges all over the country. But you promised so much. And this is why I always ask people, whosoever is promising you heaven and earth right now, you have to ask him how.
Right. Okay, let's move over to the PDP's candidate, Atiku Abubakar. And, in an interview a few months ago, he made the point, I think 2 critical points. One, he's committed to privatizing some government agencies such as the NNPC. And then, of course, he's also trying to move the Naira back to what you can say is more of a free-floating, market-determined exchange rate. So he appears to be saying a lot of the things that, if you like, the investor community would like to hear.
Yes.
The big question is whether or not he will be able to execute on this. Your thoughts?
Only time will tell. We can't see into the future, but we can look at him and say, okay, what has he done in his personal life? And how do you plan to do it? This is why I always ask every contestant, from the fringe players to the major players, how do you plan to achieve these plans that you are reeling out? If you tell me that you're going to make the dollar equal to the Naira or equal to 45 Naira, whichever it is, or you're going to give me petrol at 20 Naira per liter, I'm going to ask you how. You know, if at this point we're already spending more than we spent under the Jonathan administration for subsidy and it's not budgeted for, then you have to ask yourself, how are you going to come in and make it lesser? Because the truth of the matter is, and this is another issue with the Nigerian public, most of the public do not really understand what to ask or what to expect or what amounts to a realistic view of governance. So somebody comes and tells me, I'm going to make the Naira equal to $1, and I'm excited. Why should I be excited? How are you going to do it? You know, you're going to make 45 Naira to a liter, 45 Naira per liter of petrol. How is it possible? Knowing fully well that our refineries are not functioning, you're going to have to import all of this and call it under recovery if you choose. You know, so these are the things that the voters, us the followers, need to ask these questions. We need to hold every single person accountable and say, hey, you promised A, B, and C. I want to see how you're going to get to Z.
All right, and of course, there's also that conversation around corruption. And of course, that is the big criticism of the PDP. The APC made that point that they were coming to, if you like, clean up the mess that the PDP had developed over the 16 years or so. So, your thoughts about a potential PDP comeback, what could that mean for corruption?
Off the cuff, I think that the PDP will do something interesting. They will get in there and perhaps learn from their mistakes. I'm hoping now, I'm really hoping, they'll learn from their mistakes, go in there and decide to keep everything as transparent as it should be. Because the big issue with corruption is when it's not transparent, when dealings from government are not transparent. It's a big, big issue. If people cannot see, if the people cannot be informed as to every single step that the government is taking and how much it costs, you know, all the way, then it's a big issue.